So that's this is what this session is going about. I'll try to keep it short because I know you have a hard stop at night. There aren't many text functions you can do in Workday. I hopefully this should not take long for you today. Okay.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
very first text function in Workday happens to be, let me open my notepad. It happens to be substring text. Okay. Now, substring text is basically for you to extract a specific portion of the text in the field. So suppose if there is a field that says full legal name of worker, okay? And that full legal name of worker might be, so for you, imagine it might be Shravanti and your last name, okay? That way. Or let's for assume for me, maybe my full legal name is Mrs. Preeti Reddy, okay? I only want to extract the first three letters, which happens to be my prefix from my name. Okay. In those kind of situations, we will use the substring function. Okay. So that's how you do it. Or else let's talk in Workday terminology. Maybe I have a text field which gives me the cost center details. Okay. But the cost center details happens to be in this format: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first 5 digits are the cost center ID, and then they write the cost center name. Okay, this is how basically the field is holding the text field is holding the cost center value. Now my client is not interested in seeing the ID right now. They only want to see the cost center name. So in these kind of situations, you leverage the substring text function where you have to only extract a particular portion of your text from the entire field. It then comes in handy. Substring text function then comes handy for you. Now, for you to perform a substring text function, you have to always ensure that the field is of type text. You cannot do this function on any other kind of field. If there is an instance field and you have to extract a particular portion of that, convert it into a text. I will show you how to do that in one of the following functions. But yes, to do this function, you have a text type field in your calculation. Okay, so
Okay.
let's start with create a calculated field, and I'm going to talk about a lot of other things pertaining to this because you will see few things like delimiter and all those things. So let me first show you how to build this, and then we will further understand what each of these delimiters and all means in Workday. Okay, so
Okay.
right now I'm extracting this particular text which happens to be the cost center name. For my client, their cost center ID always is five. Sorry, it has 5 digits in it. Okay, and then after that only the cost center name will start. So now I know that I have to extract the portion of the field which happens to start from the sixth position, right? The first 5 position are always ID. The letters or the name will always start from the sixth position. That is the level of detail I have, and I have to go towards the end of the field because I need the entire cost center name, right? So let me just type the field name. So I just want the cost center name, and the function is substring text. Now this cost center field is basically on journal line. Maybe I'm building a report on journal line. I want to see just the cost center name for those journal lines. So I'm going to pull this business object, build this field on journal line BOs. As we know that every field has to be built on a particular business object. If you are building a global field, then the business object would have been a global BO. But this particular cost center that I'm trying to work on is built of journal line. It's not necessary that cost center is only built of one BO. A workers cost center, if you're trying to pull that, will be built of workers BO. If you're trying to pull off a student's cost center, it'll be built of student BO, and so on, right? So that way, right now I'm playing with the cost center, which happens to be on journal line. So I'm going to do a substring function. This is the one that I'm going to talk about. Now this is how the calculation tab looks like. It first asks me for the field which I want to extract the portion for. So I'm going to give them the name of cost center here. And you will see I have both types of field coming in. Cost center single instance field. I have few text field, cost center area, cost center function. Most of these are basically what do you say as calculated fields, but there is also cost center ID field. I'm only concerned right now. Let's read the description of this field. So this is the cost center as a work tab. Do you recall you asked me that how will we be dealing with all these kind of things? So
Yeah.
this is how so work tags are basically how employees sit in an organization in Workday, right? An employee has its own location hierarchy. An employee has its own supervisory org. An employee has its own company. Same way, a lot of objects in the finance environment have are assigned to a work tag. So cost center also happens to be one of those work tags. Okay. So now I'm going to pull up this single instance field. Like I said, there are only two types of field on which you can do a substring text. Either it's an instance, in an instance also single instance. So let me just help you recall what is single instance and multi-instance. If a field stores just one value for that object, it's single instance. So a journal line can only have one constant as a work tab. That's why it is a single instance. But if a field stores more than one instance for a particular object, it is called multi-instance. Okay. So now my motive here is to extract the part of the cost center field from the sixth position. So I don't have a delimiter. Delimiter is basically a particular sign or particular kind of symbol after which you want to extract the particular field. Here, if you will see,
Yeah,
there is no sign.
space and yeah.
Yeah, had there been a space, had there been a hyphen, had there been a backslash or something of that sort, I would have called it as a delimiter. But here in this situation, I don't have a delimiter. All I know is that I want to extract the value from the sixth position. So you will see there are a lot of I will say ways. You can extract things after a delimiter, before you can do this thing between two delimiters. My field right now has no delimiter. All I know is that there is a fixed position after which I want to extract my content. So I'm going to select fixed position. Now starting character position. So from which particular character I'm trying to start? I'm going to start it from the sixth, right? The
Yeah.
cost center ID is up till fifth position. The name starts from the sixth position, right? So I'm going to select the digit 6 here. I'm going to simply type it because yesterday we saw, right, how to find these global fields. I want it from the sixth position. Fixed length would have been if I would have just wanted the first three letters from the sixth position. Then I would have said that 3. Fixed length means up till the third position from the sixth position, but it's not say that way. I want this field up till the end of the text, right? So I'm just gonna say until the end of text field. If I will select this, then it will mean that I'm from that particular name also, I'm just extracting a particular up till a particular position only. Understood?
Yeah.
Then comes remove leading and training spaces, means if there would have been any space in between, Workday would have automatically removed it from there. Okay. So that's how we build a substring text function. That's one example. Now let me help you understand about what are the different ways where delimiters play a role. Okay. So let me type few examples for you and then you will be able to understand it. So suppose there is this particular kind of field. Okay. The value is ABC hyphen XYZ. Okay. And you have been asked, and I want you to take part over here, Shravanti, to help me understand. You have been asked to only extract ABC from this. Okay. Oh, yeah, you have been asked to only extract ABC from it. Let me open this particular field and you tell me. Okay, suppose this is how the cost center value is. I'll just copy this field and I want you to take part in this and help me build this field. So suppose the cost center format is ABC hyphen XYZ and you have to only return ABC. How would you go about it? So what is the first thing that you will choose over here? I want the ABC before the hyphen.
Yeah, before delimiter.
Great, yeah. And over here, what would
Uh,
be the delimiter? I will try to go under the global fields, right? Because these kind
yeah.
of, like I said, these symbols fall under that. Since it's a text kind of, all these symbols are always text type. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to go under the text function. I'm going to see if there is a hyphen. Yes, there is a hyphen, right?
Yeah.
This is underscore. This is the hyphen. So I'm going to select a hyphen here. Okay. Now tell me what is the direction that I should select.
It's from right. It's from right. I
Yeah, so
forward.
direction is basically forward, right?
Yeah.
I'm going from this to this, right? Not
Yeah.
backward. If it would have been CBA, I would have gone backward. So yes, I'll be selecting forward here. Perfect. That's one way of looking at things. Okay. Now suppose I let me
This
just give one
direction
more
is
example.
nothing but like in other reporting tools we use like right to left, left to back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, you can relate it that way. Right. So now let's consider one more example before we move ahead. So suppose I have a date field, okay, that says 07/04 maybe, and my client has said that only give me 04 from that, okay. So I have to extract something after this backslash. So just tell me what are the changes I'm going to make over here. This is the one that is there, and I want 04. So tell me how exactly I'm going to approach this.
So
In the
that
substring
will that
type,
will be
what will I
after
select?
delimiter.
Perfect. And
And
then in the
then
delimiter, what will I look for? And where should I go?
backward
You help me
slash
navigate.
text, global fields, text,
Perfect. Yeah.
black backward slash or
Okay.
forward.
Great.
I don't know. I didn't see it's backward or
Yeah,
forward
it's the
slash.
backward slash. Okay.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna
backward
select
slash.
that. What should be my direction here? So this is what
Duration is 04, right? So
yeah.
it will be forward.
Perfect. Great. So this is one way of approaching it. Okay. Now comes let me just see if I can give you an example of between two delimiters. Yeah, I have an example. Perfect example of that. So suppose the field is designed in such a way, okay? A, B, C hyphen, and then under these square brackets I have stored XYZ. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and I want to extract this XYZ. Okay.
Okay.
So just tell me first, let's look at the field once and then I'll go to the tenant. I want only XYZ, which happens to be between these two brackets. Okay, so tell me what exactly do I need to change here for this?
Between two
Yeah,
delimiters.
yes. And then what should be my starting? So whenever we do between two delimiters, we have to denote a start and an end point. So what should be my starting delimiter? Let's look at this particular field.
Parenthesis that
Yes, right. Parenthesis.
open
Again, it'll
parenthesis.
be a text field.
Yeah.
Yes. If we don't have
Global.
one, we will create. I'll show you how to create text constants. Not right now. It'll come as a single, but I there we should ideally have it. They do store all these kind of things. Let me just type in and see if we have this parenthesis in this tenant. No, they don't have it. So basically, whenever you don't have a value and you need that value, let's then jump on to the next function only. It's called text constant, creating text constants.
Okay.
Whenever you want a particular text value, like a symbol is missing from the global field, or maybe you want to return a letter M or a F, or you want to return yes or a no. Okay, all these kind of things, maybe Workday doesn't have them stored in there. So you can always build a text constant field. So the name of the field, suppose I want to build this parenthesis field. Okay, so I'm just going to say square parenthesis. My function is text constant. Now, usually, ideally, what is recommended by Workday is that when you're building these text constant fields, since they do not denote any value in the tenant or anything of that sort, and they're not stored on an object, usually always prefer to build it on a global,
Global.
yeah, so that you can access it anywhere, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just going to build a text constant right now. Yeah, this is the function. I'm building an opening one, so I should write open. Click on OK, and it's very simple. All you have to do is denote. So I want the parenthesis to look like this. I'm just denoting it here, right? If I would
Yeah.
have been I wanted to build a text field that says mango in the tenant, I would just type mango. Okay, that's how you do it. If you want a numeric field to be a text constant because you want to do substring text, same way. So like that 0407 example I gave, even though these are numbers, since you're building it as a text constant, they will come up as a text field for you
Okay.
to do these calculations on it. Okay, so that's how you build a text constant field. Anything which you want to do or you want to return in a true and false condition and you don't have it in the tenant, it's always good to build one in the tenant. Okay,
Okay.
so that's how you will build it. So that's about two kind of, what do you say, two kind of functions related to text. The next function is concatenate text. Now, concatenate text is basically you joining one or more text or single instance fields together. Okay. So suppose I have two fields that says first name and last name of a worker. I want both of them to come together. So I
Yeah.
will build a concatenate text function and I will say first name plus last name. In between, if I want maybe a comma, I can add that as well. In between, if I need a hyphen or a space, I can add that as well. So that's about concatenate text. Let me build a concatenate text with you and show it to you how exactly it will look like. Let me do a create calculated field. I'll just do create another calculation from here. So what I'm going to build is, let me open the notepad. Is there a screen lag that you're facing?
No.
No? Okay. So let me just open the notepad and let me just tell you what exactly. So what we are going to do is we are going to build a field that has a preferred name of the worker. Then there is a space. Then we have a bracket for that, the normal oval brackets that we have. Then we have the preferred language of the worker in that preferred name space, again a space, because sorry, not again a space, I'm just saying preferred language. And after that we give them the what do you say, as the closing parenthesis like this. So that is what we are going to build. We are going to combine the preferred name and in bracket we want to show the preferred language of the worker.
Language.
Okay, so this is how we name the field: CF preferred name and preferred language. Always name fields are usually about workers only. So I'm going to
Yeah.
build it on the worker BO. The function here will be a concatenate text. Happens to be right at the top, given they're all arranged in alphabetical ascending order. So now this is more like a arithmetic calculation. You sequence your fields in the way you want. So I want the sequence to be first preferred name, so I'm just going to see if there is a preferred name text field. Again, for concatenate text, your field type should either be text or a single instance. That's very important thing to remember here. So yes, there are multiple preferred names. Some of them are single instance, some of them are text. I can assure you the ones that are text is a concatenate text function where someone has converted an instance field into a text field. I'll show you that as well, how to do. We will do that. But right now, I just want the Workday delivered single instance field. Now, after that, if you remember, I want a space. I don't want them to be without spaces. So the function for that is single space. That is also a global field in Workday. It's called single space, happens to be a text field. I am really not going to scroll right, like search for it. I'll just type it and see. But yeah, you'll see it somewhere over here. It's a single space is the Workday delivered field which adds spaces to your fields. Okay. So this is the one. Then after that, I want a bracket. After this, I want a bracket. So I'm just gonna type a bracket field and see if there is a global bracket field available here, or do I need to build a text constants for that? Usually there should be. No, there isn't. I'm gonna create a calculated field from here itself. I'm gonna call it bracket. Business object global function. I'm going to build a text constant. So the function will be text constants here. So you can see if you don't have a field and you need one, you can immediately grow from the calculation itself. You don't
Yeah.
have to open another window and all and then do it and then copy paste the field. See, I have it here. After the bracket, I want the preferred language here. So let me type and uh, look for that field here. Yes, we have three types of preferred language field. I'm not concerned with display and communication. I simply want the preferred language. And after that, I want a closing bracket. Usually, since they don't have the open bracket, I'm assuming they will not have the closing bracket. So I'm just going to quickly create one as a text constant. Oh, sorry. Global. It has to be global because I want
Global,
it to be
yeah.
available across BOs. So yeah, many a times we mindlessly create these things, then we later assume or realize that it's not what we should have done. But yeah, there is always a way to create more than one field in Workday. So you can always, you cannot change the business object of a field once created. That's something that you should
Okay.
remember. You
Yeah.
cannot. You can change the logic, you can change the calculations, you cannot change the business object. So that is how you have built the sequence in which you want the entire text to appear. You will just put everything in that sequence. If I would have wanted a
So,
bracket to,
Preeti,
yeah.
like since you said we cannot change the business object, let's say we have created something with the wrong business object.
Hmm.
So if we
Hmm.
have to delete the entire thing, where do
Field.
we will have an option? Yeah.
If you have not using that field in any report or a business process condition or anywhere in a worklet or anything, yes. Until unless a field is not being used, you can delete it. The moment it becomes comes into use, then you will have to first remove that field from all the places from where it is being used and then delete it. A good way to do it is mark fields as do not use. I'll show you how to do that because when something is marked as DNU now, then what
Mhm.
happens is you are denoting it basically that this is now a DNU item. You cannot calculate field where from where. Why is it not me letting me make things DNU? Mm, You can migrate. This is strange. Anyway, under there is something called as deployment that comes on a related action of the field. I am not getting that deployment option here. Just like audit and all, you will see a deployment. You might
Okay.
explore it in your tenant today. And under the deployment, it will say mark the instance as DNU. Do not use. Just use that and make it as DNU. That way, even if someone is using it in the report, it'll throw error for them because it's a DNU instance. That's one way. If it's being used and maybe it's being used across 100 reports, and you of course we cannot go back in 100 reports and delete them, right? So just make it DNU so that every owner knows it has been DNU'd and they replace it with another field. If it is
Okay.
not being used, simply like this one is not being used, I can just go and delete it. Okay,
Okay.
got
Directly
it?
we can delete under actions. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's okay, so this is about your concatenate text function. Let's jump on to our next function, which happens to be format text. Now, format text is basically lets you change the case of a text field. So if something is in lower case, you want to make it into upper case, you can do that. If something is in a proper case, you want to do it in upper case, you can do that. So let me just show you what exactly lower and upper case means in Workday. So suppose this is someone's, let me take my name only. Let me type my name Preeti. This happens to be your proper case, means how grammar teaches us, right? This is
Yeah.
proper case. Now, if I want my name to be in uppercase, to be shown up as uppercase, then I will use the what do you call as format text function, and if I change the case to be upper, this is how it will appear. If it has to be a lower case, then this is how it's going to appear. Everything in small letters. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is how proper case, uppercase and lowercase appears in Workday. Let me just change the format the full legal name of a worker into a uh, uppercase, and let me show that to you. Since legal name is built on worker business object, I'm going to build this field of worker business object, and the function here will be format text. Source field, I set full legal name. Again, you can only use a single instance or a text field here, nothing beyond that. So full legal name is here. Option, I want it to be in uppercase. So you see the three cases are coming. I want everything to be shown in capital. And you simply build this kind of field. So irrespective of whichever case the full legal name is stored in, if I use this particular field in my report, it will always show in capital letters to me. Okay. Now
Yeah.
let's move slightly from text to some other ad hoc ones, which I feel today's session has time, so we can really use it to talk about it. These are very simple ones called as a format number. Now, format number is basically you can change a text field or a numeric field, sorry, a numeric field into a text form. Okay. So suppose I have uh, a length of service field. Okay. And I want that, maybe that's a numeric field. Okay. That's showing it as up as a numeric field, but I want to substring some data from it. So in order to do a substring, of course, it has to be what, like text field, right? Until unless I don't change this particular kind of thing into a text field, I won't be able to do that, right? So format number is that particular field only. It lets you convert a numerical field into a text field. Okay. So let me just say, maybe let me just take up a field called base pay. Okay. It's coming up as into base pay with the currency salary field, which is showing up. So suppose my salary happens to be some monthly salary happens to be some 40,000 INR, and the value shows us 40,000 INR. Now I have to only extract currency from this field. If it's a numerical field, I cannot do that, right? Because it happens to be a numerical field. I cannot substring text on a numerical field. So I have an option to do that. I can convert that base pay numerical field into a text field, and then I can substring the last three digits of the currency. Got it?
Okay.
The
Yeah.
last three letters. So let me just see if I can give you an example. Nothing on top of my head, but let me just see format. So I'm looking at the salary details of the worker. That is the basic pay that they receive, and its format number. The source field is base pay. Let me see if there is any numerical base pay field. Should be. Yeah, there are a lot. See, can you see currency fields are also coming? So let me
Yeah.
just type base pay, total base pay in USD. Okay, so maybe I want the USD one, and I only want to extract the amount from it. I want to leave the last three currency text alone and just want to extract the amount. So that way, I will convert this currency field into a particular kind of text field so that I can do that. Now format also, you can change the format. Which format do you want it to show up as text? Should it be in thousands? Should it be, if it's negative, should it show up as bracket, and so on and so on. Also decimal separator you can define. If it has to be always a period, you want it to be a comma, because in some countries like in India decimal separator is period, right? I guess it's the same in US as well.
Yeah.
But many a times in some countries it happens to be comma. Ideally, if the client has not mentioned that AI, we should want to see it in these two formats, always leave it to be a user local. Whichever local the user is sitting in is going to show up as them. So if the person is sitting in France and running the report, it's going to show up as period and comma based on which local, if they are sitting in. Okay. So that's how you do a
So,
format
Preeti,
number.
under format, there are certain values. What are those? Like when you click on a format, yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen
So see,
them on our regular reports also.
yeah, so see, how do you want? So suppose this is a field which has decimal in it, right? So suppose
Okay.
my salary happens to be 46,783.285. Okay?
Okay.
So let me show you actually. It'll be much easier. So suppose my salary is 46,783.248. This is my exact base pay. Okay? Now
Yeah.
suppose I'm formatting this number. If I say the format to be 000, it's going to disregard all the decimal and it's going to show as 46,783. Of course, because the last three are 248, had it been greater than 5, it would have shown as 46,784. Okay. If I
Okay.
select this format 0.0, it's going to show as 46,783.2. It's going to disregard the 4 and 8. Okay. If I select this, then of course it's going to show the entire thing. If I select this, it's going to show as 2480 because there isn't any other digit beyond that. So that's how format is. Now, if you select this format, all the negative numbers will show up as bracket and all the positive ones will show up as this. So that's how formats are defined. So there are
Oh,
lots and lots of formats you can define. We usually don't tend to use these kind of formats much, we are only concerned with the ones that I showed you. Even in financials, I have not seen people going up till K and everything. K is basically if a particular, na, K means thousand. So
Yeah.
what is going to show is that if my salary was 40,000, it's going to show 4 and then going to denote it with K. That's how. It's not going to show the last three digits, 4,000. It's just going to show 4K. If it was 40,000, it would have shown 40 and then it would have denoted the thousands with K. That's how each of these format
So
means. Understood?
if any number is in negative side, we have to
Then
choose that number in
now,
parentheses.
yeah. Now depends how they want to see. That's the call out here.
Okay.
You on your own wish, you should not really choose until unless they say that I want the negative number to be shown in brackets. Then you choose this format. Okay. If they're
Okay.
not mentioning anything, leave it like this. Then it's going to show with that negative sign. If you don't select anything, it's going to show up with that negative sign itself. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Got it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it is. Oh, I have not selected it. Format is an important thing actually to select. So let me just
Yeah. When
select.
I was analyzing few reports, like there is this field format
Hmm.
and they have
Yeah.
this zeros
Yeah.
and
So
all
can you see
this.
the immediately the moment I formatted it, it got converted to a text field. Can you see
Yeah.
this was a currency field and now it's showing up as text? That what now you can easily do what do you call as substring text, concatenate text function on these fields. Okay,
Okay.
understood?
Yeah.
Suppose I want to see the salary plus my salary plan name in a field. Okay, so suppose I am on a annual, my salary plan name is annual salary plan, and my stakeholder wants to see the salary of the worker as the amount of the salary and there's plus the salary plan. Since this is a currency field, you cannot do a concatenate text, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to convert the salary field into a text field using this function, and then salary plan is may or may not be a text field. If it's instance field, well and good, you can use it that way. If it's not, then you can use concatenate text function to convert it into a text function. Okay, so a good way to convert a instance field into a text is to use concatenate text function. So suppose if your salary plan is a single instance field and you want it to be a text field, you use the concatenate text function and convert it into the same. Got it?
Okay. So this format number is always used for currency fields.
Yes, yes, totally.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Not always for currency, numerical and currency. Anything
Okay.
which is numerical in nature and anything which is currency in nature. Okay.
Okay.
Now our next thing is convert your text to number. We are going to do that. Remember I create let me create a text constant called 04/07. Suppose I have created a text constant in Workday. Okay. Actually, let me do that the other way. Let me find a realistic field that I can show you. Hmm. Actually, let me do one thing. Let me show you a hierarchy. This way, I'll able to teach you about hierarchy of. Okay, so in Workday, there is something called as length of service, which means how many years you have been associated with an organization. So be it 4 years, 5 years, okay? And usually the format of length of service is like this. In Workday, how it appears to be. So suppose I have been with the organization for 5 years. I'm going to do it like five. It shows up like this, 5 years. Give me excuse. That's how. Then comma, if you have been associated for a particular, so maybe I've been here for 5 years, 9 months. So I'm just going to type 9 and then similarly months. Okay, so that's how they, and if they, it would have been some days as well, it would have shown that as well. So suppose maybe 9 months and 0 days because maybe it's exactly 9 months for me. So it'll show up as 9 months, 0 days. Okay, so this is how length of service appears in Workday for you. Now my end output here is to convert, and this length of service in Workday is always a text field. Even though it has numerical value stored in it, it is always a text field. Now my end motive here is I want to find the year, exact year of service for my text field. So suppose this, I want to find this particular value, 5 years of service. Okay. Now, usually people will say that do a simple text, do a simple substring text, right? That would be your first instance, right? If you have to just pull this 5 digit from this one, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's very simple. But what if someone says that now I want to add this 5 years of service to maybe a particular numerical field to do some arithmetic calculation? Maybe their years of service denotes a particular reward figure that they will receive, and maybe it's based on how many years they have spent. So maybe I have to multiply the years of service to a particular salary component in Workday, right? But
Yeah.
because it's a text field, do you think I can use it in arithmetic calculations? No, because
No.
text fields cannot be put in arithmetic calculation. So now I have to go via hierarchy of fields. First, I have to make sure that I extract this 5 value from my field. That's the first thing I have to do. The second thing here is I have to ensure that I have to find a way to convert this text into a number so that then I can use this final field in my calculation. Getting it?
Yes. Yeah.
That's where I talk about hierarchy of fields. Many a times, a single calculated field does not help you achieve the desired result. That is when you implement different levels of calculations of different types to go to your end output. Okay, so let me first do a substring text, and you're going to help me. How do we get that 5 value? Okay, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
find. Again, length of service is a worker based field, so I'm just going to pull the worker be over here. I have to do a substring text, so I'm gonna pick up the substring text function. Yeah. Now comes the text field. Tell me what should I be writing over here so that I get that particular.
Text
No, I should
global
be
field.
searching. No, no, no. I want to look at length of service, right? So maybe
Okay.
I should
Okay.
type
Name
the
of the
keywords.
field, length
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
service. Yeah.
yeah. So let's just type the keywords length of service. See, there is a text field. I'm
Yeah.
not concerned with maybe there is also something called as worker. See, and this is the one, the length of service in years, months, and days for the worker. And let me see what does this say. This is actually a what do you say, a calculated field. So I'm not concerned with the calculated field. I want the workday delivered field. Okay. Now tell me, Shanti, from where do you what should be my delimiter here? Uh,
Space.
Space, correct, exactly. Because there is a space between the year and 5, I
Yeah.
have to, and tell me what should be this. What particular substring type should I be choosing here?
Before delimiter. Before a
Perfect,
delimiter.
exactly. And the delimiter here should be space. So I'm just gonna
Space.
type single space here because in Workday spaces are denoted by single space.
Single
So
space.
I'm gonna type single space. What
And
should be the direction?
forward.
Perfect. And here I am with my substring text function. Got it?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I have to use this 5 value in a arithmetic calculation. I cannot use a text field. So there is a way
Yeah.
to convert text fields into what do you say as numbers. Let me just copy the name of this field. I'll do a copy text and I'll create another calculation here. It will say CF length of service as number. Business object again worker because that calculated field is built on worker, so I have to ensure that my other calculation where I have to use that field is also built on worker. Making sense?
Yeah.
So I have to use this function called convert text to number.
Oh, okay. There is a direct function. Okay.
Yes. Now the field that I'm trying to convert is what, the one that I just built, right? The substring text function.
Yes.
That is the one I'm trying. So I have to simply have to look for that field. Since it is built on worker, it will come up here. If you would have not selected worker as your business object while building the text to number field, this field would have not come up. So always remember which field will become your source of the calculation. For me, this field is the source of this calculation, right?
Yeah.
Any field that you are performing the calculation on is your source. Now you have to see which view is that field built on. That view is the one you should be selecting while doing the other calculation. So that's how. Since
Okay.
this field was built on work as a BO, now decimal separator, leave it to based on user locale. You don't want to make it comma or a. Always prefer return zero in error, like I said, so that the entire report doesn't stop running and only this value comes up as zero if there's an error. Okay.
Yeah.
Click on OK, and now this field, I'll just show you a magic here. This field is a numerical field. From a text field, I have converted it into, can you see the sign? It's
Yeah.
become a numerical field. And you can now easily use it in your arithmetic calculations. Got
So
it?
it's like opposite of what we did for format number.
Exactly, right. It's
Okay.
just the opposite. There we were converting a number to text. Here we are converting a text to number. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the last for this today's session is text length. Many a time what happens is that for a substring text or something, it's not always that I can denote that I want it from this particular position or that particular position. Maybe I will have to calculate the text length. So let me just give you an example. Okay. Suppose there are two address lines in someone address. Okay. And the address says like uh, 10 Pine Street. This is the first address line. And the second address line is uh, mm, 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 just random 1 2 3 4 as code and maybe Fifth Avenue. Okay. So this is the entire address of a person. Okay. Now
Yeah.
I have to extract this 1 2 3 4 from this particular what do you call from this particular entire field. Okay, maybe this is the text
Yeah.
field called a home address, and I have to extract only this 1 2 3 4. So what usually you would have said that okay, there is a delimiter space between. What if there wasn't a space between and this particular digit used to change all the time? In those kind of situations we have to find the text length. We have to find from where. So I want the substring to start happening from 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14. I want the substring to start from 15th position, so that I get, and I want it to stop at 1 2 3 4 fourth position. So many a times when you have to calculate the exact number of characters in a text field, we go with the function called text length. It basically gives you the number of text figures in that particular field. So it's a very simple field. I have not seen it being used much, to be honest, but many a times in substring and all, I have to do that. So I try to do that in that, but yeah, that's all. So suppose what is the length of someone's address? Maybe I have to do a filter, right? That only show me people whose length of address is greater than 30. Maybe because we do not want workers to enter more than 30 characters in their address field. Okay, and I want to add a
Yeah.
validation rule. So in that case, I will have to build these fields. The length of address should not be greater than 30 and things of those sort as a filter. So that
Oh.
way text uh, length works. Any questions up till now? Because we are closing the session. We have looked at all the text fields calculations for today, and tomorrow we'll be jumping into slightly complex one, I would say, just a heads up. Now we'll be moving towards advanced ones. The date and text were very simple. Now tomorrow we'll be seeing how to build true and false condition, evaluate expressions, how to do calculations like arithmetic calculations, and if time permits, I will also show you single instance and all, but I guess that will be for another day. But yeah, tomorrow it will be advanced session for us.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
then let's
Thanks.
meet tomorrow. Okay,
Yeah.
bye bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.